Hey, you guys, and welcome back to the Take Back with Tiffany and Brandon, where we take back our right to love and heal while bringing you authenticity and honesty for those couples looking to elevate their relationships. I'm Coach Tiffany.
And I'm Coach Brandon.
And today's topic, we will be discussing what we're going to be talking about, honey.
Oh, we got a juicy topic today. Today's topic is, can this relationship be helped?
There's going to be some great things. I'm excited to talk about it. But first, we are definitely excited to be able to help you guys look and elevate your relationship. So please check out our podcast every Wednesday and Saturday. We know we're doing it on Thursday today, but because we're not able to see you guys yesterday, but we're here for you guys today. That's why we're going live. But check us out every Wednesday and Thursday at 9:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, where we will discuss real relationship conversations that can be fixed in real time. So make sure you guys go and subscribe to our Spotify, our YouTube, our Instagram, and our Facebook, so that you guys can be ready and turn on your notifications so you guys can be able to have us right here in front of you guys. So let's get on into talking about what we're going to be talking about today, honey.
I love it. This is a very, very dear topic of mine, because a lot of times, we get into our relationships and things just change. Like, things are just totally different. You think that things are going to be the most beautiful time and the most beautiful experience, and then you hit a rough patch. And when you hit a rough patch, a lot of times people just don't know how to deal with those things. Like, we know how to love each other. We know how to have fun with one another, but we never, ever really know how to deal with those things. So I want to just read something before we get started today. And it was also in the comments of the description of today's podcast. But it says, there are times when a relationship hits its lowest point. During these times, people wonder if the relationship can be saved, since two people always get together at their common level of woundedness. Here is what we say to the partner who has sought our help. And what we usually say is, as long as you choose to remain in this relationship, there are things for everyone to learn. We truly believe that each partner contributes 100% to the relationship. And while it's often easy to see that your partner is doing what you see what your partner is doing that is harmful in a relationship, it's often difficult for us to see what we are doing. So, Tiffany, you want to talk about that?
Yeah. The one thing that we need to do is, like, when you're respectful of each other's space and setting those comfortable boundaries, you set yourself up for success. But not everybody goes into relationships that way. They go into relationships, pretty much 9 times out of 10 trying to heal from the last one. So we want to make sure that we give you guys an opportunity to be able to, not only be able to find and identify those things that can help you be able to heal yourselves, but we want to be able to help you along the process of identifying that self-awareness and knowing that you're not going to be able to take that into your new relationships. But let's get some likes up in here. I mean, let's get some comments. I would love to see you guys be able to engage with us. We are definitely open to hearing you guys' comments as well. The one thing about learning a relationship is knowing exactly what you're actually getting into. If you know your partner the way that would be most effective, it helps your relationship times 10. So let's talk about how a person, when it comes down to knowing if you're even on the brink of even having those issues. Are you having these types of what do you say? Do you want it too? Do you want the relationship as well? Because it has to be a two-way street. There's one thing that is big with me and Brandon is when we separated, it was because one of us did not want it anymore. And you're very entitled to be able to feel those ways, but are you explaining, or are you expressing, are you putting it really out there that you really do not want the relationship? Now, if you have an opportunity to be able to have those difficult conversations, now check that out on episode 2. of having those difficult conversations, you have to really self-analyze and say, am I in a relationship that is making me happy? Am I in a relationship that's making me fulfilled? And am I in a relationship that's going to help me elevate to the next level? So if some of those things are yes, no, maybe, it's time to be able to really reevaluate those types of conversations. And you need to make sure that you have them with your partner. So do we really want to have these type of conversations with our partners? It's hard. It's hard to have it. Honey, I was just letting him know about if we really, do we really want to have, do you want it too? Do you want to have the relationship the way that it is as well? If you're not having, if you have any types of doubts, that's when we need to be able to sit back and have those difficult conversations. So what do you think about that?
I wish I would have heard everything you said. It kicked me out for a second.
It did kick you out. Okay.
Yeah. But I always say, what's your intentions first?
Oh man, he's having a little technical difficulties, but just knowing that
First and foremost, look at
yours was kind of, it was breaking up, honey. Could not hear you.
they cut me out.
It did. So if you don't mind starting over that part, like if you say what you said.
Yeah, just
That's the
going
thing
back
about
and
live,
forth.
you guys.
Yeah, that's the worst thing about live because it's saying that we got full bars of reception and everything here. So on top of that, I got somebody calling me in the background, but it's all
No, we
good.
gotta
We're gonna
turn
keep
that
it
off.
moving. We're gonna keep it running.
They
But
gotta see we
anyway,
live right now.
yeah, but most definitely, and what I want to say is that it has to be. You have to think about your intentions, right? What do you really want to do? Just think about it. A lot of times we get into a relationship and we stay stuck in that relationship, knowing that we don't want to be there. And if you know that there's no chance for the relationship to be fixed or for it to be healed, I think you have to have a realistic conversation with yourself. And when you had that conversation with yourself, just truly figuring it out. Is this worth saving? Is this worth the sacrifice? Is it worth healing? Is it worth fixing? Not just that, can that person change or can I change? Or do I have a problem? Like, do I truly have a problem? And then do I see myself being able to live with all the things that I've created now in the future separated from this person? And a lot of times, people don't really think that into full perspective. They think that it's all going to be the same feeling that you feel right now. And then the one issue is what the issue is. But a lot of times we're not even understanding of what we've done or what they've done and then what we can do to rectify that problem. But if there's no intention
Hmm.
at if there's no intention of a person fixing it, then why even try it? I remember when we were, I say, what was it, about our third year into our marriage? Or no, it was like the third year into our marriage. And I remember we had hit that rocky moment, and then we had got to the point where we wanted to go see a counselor. And you were like, we need to see a counselor. And I was like, no. I'm like, why even go? Like, in my mind, I have no intention on saving the relationship. And just that thought alone would keep us from saving the relationship, right? It would keep us from getting to the destination that we wanted to get to. And I just feel like you got to figure it out. Do I really want to? And then you also got to understand is like, am I feeling pain right now? And when this pain goes away, do I want to stay in this relationship? Or, if anything changes, can I find myself happier in the end if this relationship was no longer here?
Yeah.
You just really got to take everything in consideration.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was actually perfectly said. I forgot about that. I remember we did do I was like, we got to do counseling. And we even went to the point where we did go, and they told us that we didn't need it. It was like, what? Like, so you just got to be able to find the right person. So I see that Malik said bring them in. Let's bring them in.
I'm gonna start working on it. I'm gonna start working on it.
Yes. Oh, thank you. Look at that. Shout out to Squad for the last set. Oh,
Oh
so the
yeah,
last set.
sleep.
This podcast is sponsored by Squad. This episode is sponsored by Squad Beauty Professionals, where you will be able to go and get laid and slayed So do that when you get paid, honey. We're gonna get some more information out there for you guys for Squad Beauty Professionals, but check them out on Instagram and Facebook. Out here in Las Vegas, they are top notch. You see me glammed up because of Squad. So let's. Are you sending it to him?
I'm working on it right now.
Okay, so Malik, yes, we're gonna get you on in here. So until then, yes, I completely agree with. Do you really want it to? So now we're gonna jump on into. Do we understand how we actually feel? If how first thing is first, you want to be able to understand how you're feeling, and then you need to be able to understand what the other person is feeling. So the one thing that we do is we tend to put our frustrations or our unhappiness on others. We end up saying, I'm unhappy because of you, or I'm unhappy because this is happening in my life. We need to be able to self-analyze and say, am I unhappy really because of the relationship that I'm in right now, or am I unhappy because of the pain that a certain person is causing me? So these are the things that we need to self-identify first. Understand exactly how you're feeling and knowing, is this a temporary emotion, or is this something that I have been holding on to in my heart for so long and I'm just ready to let go? Because when it gets to that point, we want to be able to not only have an opportunity to be able to even salvage the relationship. Because just because you break up with someone does not mean that you can't be friends. Doesn't mean that you can't be, you know, in each other's lives. But if it turns into a sour note, that makes it where, what was the relationship really even for anyway? So knowing how to even effectively understand your feelings and be able to process those the correct way makes it so much more easier for us to really know if this relationship can even be helped.
Yeah,
How
I
about
like
you?
that. Yeah, I like that. And you got to look at it like that, because if it can be helped, then the emotion that you're feeling right now, it will subside. And when it does, like I remember when my father and my mother used to have problems when we were children, and it was domestic violence issues. And I just remember the police officer telling my dad, like, just walk away. Like, anytime you feel angry, anytime you feel rage, any jealousy, anytime you feel as if you need to defend yourself in a physical manner, just walk away. And the reason why he was telling my dad to walk away is because when you separate yourself from that situation, all you do is you dissect all of those feelings that are going through your mind, right? You go through all those emotions, the anger, the sadness, the jealousy, um, the that fierceness. And when you're walking, it's something about, as when you're walking, that anger starts to subside. And as that anger starts to subside, you start to figure out, okay, did I say something? Did I take it too far? Like, are we even dealing with the issue at hand? You think about, a lot of times when we talk about like conflict management, we both have to come to an agreement. If I can't manage this conflict, or the resolution, if we can't find a resolution to this conflict, then we need to separate from each other. And that can be very temporary. It can just be for 30 minutes to an hour, so we can collect our thoughts. But understand how you feel, because if you feel as if you can't, like there's something that you just can't heal from, then why even try? But if you know for sure that it's something that you'll be able to get over it, it's something that you've dealt with before, and you've forgiven people many times in the past, then understand that you're gonna get right back to those same feelings.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
are you following the chat?
Yeah, I'm following the chat. Malik says send it to him again. He said, can you send it to him again?
Oh, it's the link. It's in his messenger.
It's in your messenger. So check your messenger. So I mean, that is really key. I mean, knowing those types of things is gonna be able to save you a lot of heartache, because if you can make, it's really easy to make a decision on impulse. But not everybody thinks on impulse. There's people that think at a more reserved pace. They got to have a chance to be able to process stuff. But if you don't give your partner a chance to be able to process those things, you could be really making a decision that can change your life, and sometimes it's not necessarily for the better. Uh, what I like to say is, if I don't really understand how I feel, or if I know that this feeling could potentially subside, take a step back. Take a step back and really analyze, what it is. Like he said, 5-10 minutes, it could be an hour or something, or go take a quick shower and really process what you're going to be saying. And if you're ready to have that difficult conversation, have that difficult conversation. Or if you can think about things and say, hey, I didn't really feel like that earlier, and I don't really feel like that all the time, then you'll know when to pick and choose your battles. But it's all about really understanding how you feel, not being impulsive. So,
Yeah, one thing you definitely don't want to do is make a decision while you're angry, right? Don't make
right.
a decision. I wouldn't even make a movement. I wouldn't even make a move like until my anger subsides. Like definitely because I'm telling you, when you in your emotions, you just many times we make bad decisions
Yeah.
because we're making an emotional decision. We didn't think it out logically. So, you want to take time, understand how you feel.
Yeah.
Down let's jump down to the next one. The next one is
I think you're doing it at the same time. Then.
is, are we contributing 100% to the relationship? And we talked about this in the past relationship. A lot of times you get into a relationship and we talked about you giving 50-50. But in a real relationship, you have to give 100%. And then it's not just 100% to the situation. You got kids, you got a whole uh, you got responsibilities. But what it all comes down to is, are you willing to give 100% to the relationship? And that's why it's very important for you to understand how you feel, because and be real with yourself. A lot of times, man, we go into our relationships and we don't give our best. And I don't know why we hold back. I know it was a lot of times where I was probably giving about 90% to the relationship, holding back my last 10. And then I was talking to somebody not too long ago and they said, you know what? They said, did you have any mommy issues? And I was like,
Right.
yeah, I got some mommy issues. And it was like, well, that's probably the reason why you're not giving that 100% is because you haven't learned how to completely trust a woman, because you still hold your mother accountable for some of the things that you've been through. And
Whew.
when they told me that, I was like, man, that's crazy. Because it was like until you forgive your mother and until you heal from that, you're never going to heal your wife from that. And it really got me reflecting. So it's probably something I need to even get more help upon. But I encourage everybody to, if you're not giving 100%, be realistic with it. Ask yourself why, write it down, and then have that conversation with your partner, and
Right.
just be real with it.
Right. That actually, it's actually very therapeutic for you as well when you're able to really identify those things about yourself, take accountability, stop placing blame, and knowing that it's not the person that I'm with's fault. It's certain situations that could trigger me to feel like I'm not contributing and such. So it's all about perspective as well. Because if you are with your partner, you want to trust them, right? You want to trust them with your thoughts, your dreams, your aspirations, your goals, and you want to be able to grow and build with that person. So that person should be able to identify with you of how you are truly behaving. Yes, accountability is key. Accountability is a big portion of, am I contributing to this relationship effectively? Because we can contribute to a relationship in a negative way. We can contribute to a relationship and be more pessimistic. Or if a person has, let's say I'm starting a business and I tell Brandon, hey, I want to start this, women empowerment business or something like that. It would hurt my soul if he gave me any kind of doubt, because I hold what he says to a very high standard. So in your relationship, you will want to hold what the person says to a high standard. And me taking that person taking accountability, like if Brandon's taking accountability on what it really is within the relationship, to say, hey, I understand that she's doing something, so I'm going to support her, but I know that my voice holds weight. So I need to take accountability, even if I don't really necessarily um, support what she's doing right now. At least it's in a positive, and I'm going to take accountability and say, hey, yes, I'm going to I'm going to help you. He said it's not coming through. We're going to get you in a second. Brennan's working on it right now. But this is all about accountability, making sure that if I'm holding myself accountable for the patience that I'm enduring within this relationship, I'm holding accountability for your feelings. I'm holding accountability for the respect that I give you and this relationship. That's going to be able to help show a person that, hey, I am contributing to this relationship. When's the last time that you've really looked at your partner, or even take a step back and look at yourself and says, what have I done in this relationship to contribute to its success or its demise? What have
Yeah.
I done?
Yeah, that's good.
That's a huge question that we all should be taking and asking ourselves daily. Because if we're doing 90-day plans, annual goals for our business, or working a business where you have certain goals and lists to be able to make sure you contribute to the success of that business, why are you not doing that in your relationship?
Yeah,
Why are you not taking that accountability in your relationship the same that you would take at work?
Yeah, it takes effort. Like you have to take it takes effort. You have to be accountable. It's gonna be uncomfortable. You're gonna have to go through all of those emotions in order for you to get there. Go ahead and read what Alika said. I mean,
Yes,
Malik said.
Malik said, what if the person didn't know how to use empathy and did tear that dream down with negative thoughts? Then what? Well, the one thing about it is thoughts become things. Okay. So for me, if they don't know how to use empathy, there is emotional intelligence there that we need to be able to help rectify. And that's dealing with now your own issues. Why do I not have empathy or sympathy for a person? Am I dealing with childhood trauma? Am I dealing with, like I said, those mommy issues, daddy issues, previous relationship issues? That's where we have to take a step back. We can't move forward if we're stuck somewhere in the past. We can only mask it for so long. If we want to have an effective relationship, not only with our person, but an effective relationship within ourselves, and practice self-love, we have to be able to heal some of those things that we see are contributing to our negative thoughts, our negative feelings. Negative feelings, fear, is false evidence appearing real. It's not a real thing. So if I'm having fear or I'm having negative thoughts about something, it's most likely because I've seen this in a situation and I don't want it to happen to me, or I have been in this type of situation before and I don't want it to happen to me. But that doesn't mean that this situation is going to happen now in this current situation. So the person that you're with shouldn't have to pay for the pain that someone else has caused you. We need to be able to heal from those things prior to jumping into that relationship. Or if we're already in that relationship and we're dealing with it now, have that difficult conversation with your spouse and say, I'm dealing with some stuff right now. Yeah. And I'm realizing it and I need to be able to fix it. So I'm going to need a little support from you. I'm going to lead you to try to have that empathy. And if you don't know what empathy is, it's a great time to be able to find out. And yes, heal together.
Yeah.
Because that's what's going to make you stronger in your relationship as well. Healing together.
Yeah, healing together, and like I said, it has to be intentional. Like it has to be an agreement between the two people. There has to be the compromise to be aware. So even I just had to move to the next one because you guys were both touching on it anyway. You got to be aware of your part of the dysfunction. What am I doing? What am I saying? What is my contribution to the dysfunction of this relationship? A lot of times we don't even realize, but sometimes we trigger people. And when we trigger people, we bring out the worst them. And when we see the worst them, it just makes things continuously become worse because it becomes like a domino effect. You know, you knock one thing down and you knocking another thing down. You know, you get so far off of whatever it is that you guys were, whatever the topic was at hand, and now you're dealing with what you said, what you did last week, what you did last year. Well, you did it this way, so I'm doing it this way. You know, you really get off. So you got to be aware of what's your role in it. And sometimes, like you were saying, when it comes with empathy, I just feel like that's a a part of relationships that people must have, especially now as adults. Like if you're not married and you're in your 30s, I feel like you got to come into a relationship with empathy, because so many people are dealing with not just childhood trauma, but relationship trauma through their 20s,
Yep.
relationship trauma through their 30s, making the wrong decision, baby daddy issues, mama issues. So when you come across all of those type of situations, you got to have some empathy. People have tried living out their careers and they didn't make it, and they dealing with that type of trauma. So it's very important for us to be aware of what it is that we're bringing to this relationship. What is the trauma that we're bringing, but what are the skills also that we bring in? What can I bring to this relationship also that's good? Like, what am I doing to keep this relationship together, that's keeping this thing like glue? Is it the communication? Is it the sex? Is it the sympathy, right? Is it the dates, or is it the money, right? Are you being used? Like, just be aware. Being aware of knowing what you really want in a relationship and seeing if you're getting it, and and then knowing how it's being welcomed by your partner. You might think you're doing something great, and it may annoy the heck out of your partner, to the point to where, like I said, it triggers and it reminds them of somebody who they dislike from the past, and now they start disliking you. So yeah, I could talk about this one a lot.
Yeah, this one's good. No,
Yeah.
I completely agree with you. And then I mean, even to tap in even a little bit more, being aware of your part is another part of accountability as well. Because like you said before earlier, is triggers. When we don't know, we can't grow. If I don't know that me talking about finances with you can trigger something, or if I don't know that talking about how I am as a or how we are as parents can trigger something, then that automatically can turn a conversation, a happy conversation, or just a regular talking conversation, into something something um, that can be the demise of our relationship, or it
Mm.
can make you feel some type of way. Let's say we're going out somewhere, and I decide I want to invite some friends, but you really wanted to spend intimate time together. That can hurt a relationship, because the person could feel like you don't want to spend time with me. You don't want to be here in a intimate setting with me by myself, and that can also cause issues to where you feel like I'm not being supported, I'm not being heard, I'm not being felt. There also can be scenarios where a person can feel like, oh, if I invite you somewhere, or if I invite my friends somewhere, and then my friends don't, or my friends show up and you didn't specifically invite me, now I feel rejection.
Yeah.
And now I'm not knowing that you feel that rejection, and I can potentially say, hey, it wasn't meant like that, I didn't mean it like that. Oh yeah, you didn't want me to go anyway. That's not cool. That's not cool for me to say, oh, my bad, like whatever, because we're dismissing a person, but we don't even get a chance to be able to have that talk, because now you are yelling at me, and now I'm being defensive, and I'm like, I don't care about your feelings. F your feelings, bro.
Right.
I don't care anymore. So it's not about, it's about us knowing and understanding what we are contributing to it. I know with a great situation with me and Brandon, when when it comes to, if we want to go out somewhere, okay, because I was dealing with what happened to Brazil, I didn't want to go anywhere for like 4 years. I didn't want to go and do anything. So every time that it was time for us to be able to go somewhere, I would say, yeah, yeah, we'll go, it's fine. And then, of course, my anxieties would start revving up, because he didn't know that even the start of a car would trigger my anxiety. So I would take my time, and he'd be like, come on, we got to go. And I would start yelling at him. I would say, you know what? I'm not going. You got me messed up. I'm not going nowhere. I'm not leaving. And the kids is going to stay here with me. It is what it is. And he's like, wait a minute, like, where did this come from? What is this doing? But I was contributing to, instead of telling him, like, look, I'm really scared right now. Like, I'm scared of this car right now. I'm scared of even being in this car right now. Instead of me saying that, I completely triggered an emotion on him, making it feel like you're trying to seclude me. You don't want us to go have fun. You don't want us to enjoy the family and friends that supported us during Brazil's accident. And for me, I wasn't looking at it that way. So now that I know what I know, I wish I would have handled that situation a little better, and knowing that I was a part of the destruction of him feeling unheard, unwanted, and unsupported, which leads to you being able to go out and open that door to speak to someone else. So me, I have to take accountability and say, hey, that's okay. I'm cool. I'm okay with dealing with the situation where it is, but I'm not going to be okay when it's time for me to defend myself. When I'm trying to legitimately have a conversation with you, we also got to know when it's time to be the bigger person. If the relationship is worth it, if the relationship is worth saving, we got to know when it's time for us to be the bigger person and say, yeah, I kind of messed up on that one. I kind of jacked that up, and I need to get better, and I'm going to get better. But if the relationship is something that you're not wanting to invest in, then we need to have that difficult conversation.
Yeah, figure out if it's worth salvaging or not. Shannon Butler said. Shannon Butler said, that's when communication comes in, plus understanding.
And a great one. She's gonna put a really good one on. You see
Malik
it?
said, send the link to his.
To his
Yeah,
email.
you running it right now. You going through them?
Go ahead. I'm going through them. You go ahead and send that to him because I would love to get him on. Yeah, let's get him on.
Yeah, you can read them too, and then he got to send me his email.
He did earlier in the chat, so you got to go through them. I didn't want to put it up on the screen. And then also, yes, tone of voice when expressing your feelings. Yes, you can turn me from a sweet, loving, understanding person to a straight sour patch savage. Talk to me crazy. Talk to me crazy. You say one thing, I'm like, wait, nigga, what? You got me messed up. Check your voice. Check your voice. And now we talking about, no, you check your voice. You check your voice. Now we don't even remember what we arguing about.
Yeah,
because the one thing about arguments is majority of the time, people do not remember what was said, but they damn sure remember how they felt. I don't know. He said this and that, something about the birds and something about a computer or something. I don't know, but that nigga pissed me off. He pissed me off. And all I know is that I was ready to go upside his head. That's the difference, because once we know the tonality is changing, the dynamic of the conversation changes. So do we really, that's when it's time for us to say, hey, we're not doing this. That ain't what we came to do. That's not the reason for my conversation with you. I care about you. You can actually tame a beast that way, as long as you come at a gentle approach without being passive aggressive. Okay, now that kind of irritates me at times when I hear passive aggressiveness. When it's like I'm talking in a calm voice, but I'm being aggressive. I see what you're trying to do. I don't like it. So when you tell them, yes, absolutely, tell them to talk to you nice. And I would appreciate if we change the tone, because we don't have to have that dialogue in order for you to be heard. Your voice does not have to elevate for me to hear you, because I have ears just like you. And that does not mean that mine don't work. I hear exactly what you're saying, but you got to be also willing to not talk over them. You got to be willing to hear exactly what they're going to say. But in return, you have to let them know, if I'm going to listen to you, you got to listen to me. And if you know that your stuff can potentially go where you're cutting each other off, give each other space, give each other 5 minutes a piece.
Yeah, to be able to say your piece. If you cutting people off like I just did you right now, because you was long-winded. But if you cutting people off, chances are you're not even trying to get to a resolution. Like honestly, you're just talking over each other, and you just hearing each other, you just hitting each other with your words instead of hitting yourself with your fists. And you got to just be aware of that. So yeah, definitely talk to them nice. Go to the next one. The next one is, can you find yourself? And Malik, you got to send I'm gonna need you to send it through Messenger. because I can
Yeah.
copy and paste it. I can't copy and paste his message from here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So
Well,
the next thing is I want to make sure I talk about this, and I'll lead on this one right here.
okay.
Is can you find happiness in yourself? Right. So a lot of times we gotta evaluate and realize, am I not happy, and am I expecting for my partner to make me happy? Like, have I given them that role and that responsibility of, okay, you're the person who I married, and you're responsible for making me happy. But honestly, can you truly find happiness in yourself? Like, can you look at yourself in the mirror and think about all the things that you've done and all the things that you're doing, and then can you stay in love with that person? Can you appreciate that person? Can you honor that person? Because if you can't be happy with yourself, then what makes you think that somebody else is going to be happy for you? And especially if it's your partner, because they see the realness, they hear what you say, and if your walk is not relatable to your words, they're going to call you out, and then they're going to start having this resentment. And I'm pretty sure we're going to talk about that more later. But you got to really understand, like, am I looking at this person and looking and judging them because I'm not happy, because I'm not doing the shit I should be doing as a person myself, and I'm blaming them for it. You can't blame people for your shortcomings. Like, all of that is your responsibility. So you really have to look deep into yourself, into your spirit, your soul, your heart, and ask yourself, like, am I truly happy with me?
Yeah. Yeah. You gotta be able to take the opportunity and once again self-assess. One of the things that when me and Brandon got back together, I said the problem is where I saw that we had was that you were expecting me to find you happiness when I wasn't even happy within myself.
Mm-hmm.
So while I work on my happiness, I need you to work on yours too.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's things that we we hold on to, that trauma that we hold on to can really affect our happiness. So if we're not intentionally trying to heal, but I'm looking at you and saying, oh, you make me happy, but then today you don't make me happy, now I got to feel the wrath. That's not okay. That's a lot of pressure on your spouse. That's a lot of pressure on your partner. But if you're truly happy within self, I don't really I your spouse's happiness is a plus. It's like icing on the cake. Because I love myself and you love me, that means there's so much love to be given out to this world. But if I'm searching for my happiness within you, that's preoccupying my time and I can't go be great. There's so many things I could be doing that can be productive and positive. But if I'm searching for you to find me happiness, I'll even go back to the scenario that I was talking about. If I'm trying to hang out with you and I'm trying to do things with you, but I do want to spend time with my friends. Okay. But you're getting upset at me because because you're expecting me to help find your happiness. I'm not responsible for that. I hold that to accountability. I'm responsible for a portion of it, but I'm not responsible for. I'm going to correct that. I'm not responsible for all of it, but I am responsible for some of it. You got to be able to be responsible for your happiness as well. Because if I rely on you for my happiness, that makes me not even in control of myself. Because you're dictating my day, you're dictating my life, you're dictating what is going to help drive me, and I should be able to drive the wheel by myself.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's just that whole thing. But I was reading this really quick. I don't think if he doesn't talk nice, give him the cold shoulder. They don't like the cold shoulder. That is very true. However, that I would like for women, when we give the cold shoulder, what that also does is that refrains us from being able to speak our truth. That means we're holding how we really feel inside. And is that really fair to us? That
Yeah.
causes stress, anxiety, headaches, migraines, and for us not being able to speak, we should be able to feel comfortable with saying what it is that we're feeling and dealing with in a manner that's going to help us become better people. Because if I express to you that I'm feeling some type of way, and then you start yelling at me and I just stop saying something, I don't get what I have to get out, that to release that from myself, release that energy. So now I'm holding on to that energy for a long time, because I'm probably not going to bring it up again because I don't want to feel like that again. And just because it goes away for that peak, for that moment of time, people don't realize that our behaviors are like a roller coaster. And just because we don't see them does not mean that our bodies are not going through the motions. Disease is dis-ease. My body is telling me something. I'm not comfortable. I'm not expressing myself, especially people that have problems with the throat. If they're coughing a lot, or they feel like tightness in their chest, is your throat chakra. You're not speaking your truth. You're not letting out that energy, because we all deserve to be heard. So I see that I use it. I use it for time to time. So I'm not saying that it's not effective. It does work. It stops an argument, but it also stops me from my voice being heard.
Yeah, the cold shoulder is, I like what Malik said. He said it's passive aggressive, and it really is. So I call that avoidance, right? And when you avoid something, you're just prolonging it. Now, if you're prolonging something that's a mess, you're gonna come back to a mess. Only time it's necessary for you to really prolong something is, like you said. I think it is necessary to give people the cold shoulder, especially when the communication has gotten hot, right? You got some animosity. We starting to say things that are offensive. We starting to raise our voices. Very necessary. Cold shoulder that time. You say something and the person start crying. It's time to start, refraining and starting to take a step back. But anytime that you guys are able to have a conversation and you're able to speak your truth, it's very important for the person to hear it out, because even if it sting, even if it hurt, even if they disagree, they need to hear you out, because they may need to process what you're saying. And by them being able to process it, now they can see things in a different manner. Malik also said, it's payback and stagnant. Your usage of effective communication. Cold shoulder is ineffective communication and is a net way to resolve a disagreement.
And it's not the way.
No, it's not the way.
I mean, it's I won't say that it's not the right way.
Not to resolve.
To resolve it. Yes, I agree with not resolving it. But so what I recommend is for people, if they do feel that they need to be able to do that, to be able to kind of redirect the conversation, change the narrative, give a second, but go back to the conversation. If you're willing to give the cold shoulder, be willing to start that conversation back up when things have calmed down, because you're not doing yourself justice if you leave it there and don't say anything.
Yeah, you got to be aware when you're giving the cold shoulder too. Sometimes people use it as a defense mechanism and they don't hear what the other person is saying because they're not agreeing with them too. So just being aware. Yeah. You got to be aware.
Be aware of your spouse doing it too, because if your spouse does it, pay attention to that. Go back to it and say, why are you giving me the cold shoulder? Why are you not wanting to speak? Why do you not feel comfortable with speaking your truth?
Yeah.
And that'll help. It'll help start those conversations where a person can, even if they do have their wall up or their guard up, we want to break those down. We don't want, we in our 30s, we won't be pushing 40. We need to be able to heal on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start doing this on purpose. We're not intentionally trying to keep anger and hostility and resentment in our relationships.
Yeah, I like that. So the next one is learn to take 100% responsibility for your own feelings and needs. And I think we just touched on that. And I guess we can just, say a little bit about it. So it's very important that you take responsibility for yourself, your feelings and your needs, because once you know and your partner isn't able to compromise or not being willing to compromise, then that is when you need to start thinking about the decision that you're going to make. And if that decision that you're going to make is based off of your feelings, your needs, and your partner not being willing to meet them, then it is time for you to start thinking about, okay, I may need to separate myself from the situation because you don't care about me. And why should I care about somebody that doesn't want to meet my needs and my feelings? But then there's plenty of people who are willing to, because honestly, when you choose somebody, you letting go of everybody else. And when you give somebody that responsibility, yeah, I know Tiffany was saying earlier that you don't want people to depend on your happiness, but when you do have a significant other, you do expect for them to bring you more happiness than they bring you stress. And that matters, especially to somebody like me. Like, I want to have fun, I want to be happy, I want to enjoy, I want to dance, I want to laugh. And if all you're doing is stressing me out and you're not willing to fulfill what my needs are, then we need to figure something else out. Like, we need to separate, and then we'll come back when you're not as selfish.
Yeah, I agree. I think that when it's time to um, know, when you're taking responsibilities for your own feelings, it's a chance to be able to know what you need, where you're setting your standards. Okay, these are certain things that I'll tolerate, and there's certain things I won't. I mean, you don't have to. Not no relationship is perfect, so I don't want people to get an idea of like, oh, I have to set my standards. Like, you can never ever argue with me. No, what's your opinions? We're human. We're human, and we're going to have our opportunities to be able to go jump a little bit out of character, but it's about redirection. It's about knowing and taking accountability, saying, right now I'm in my feelings. Right now I feel some type of way. You didn't want to go hang out with me, or you didn't want me to go to something. I need to take accountability that I feel some type of way, not necessarily that you're doing something to cause my feelings, because that's another thing that we end up doing is, because I'm unhappy, it's your fault. But why is it my fault? If it's my fault, what did I do to cause that? Oh, you said this and you said that, but how could those words have so much control over your feelings? That's because I'm not taking accountability for my own feelings and my needs. And if I do know that, am I expressing what I need from you in order to be able to deliver? I'm not a psychic. I can't decide that this is going to make you happy when toast is going to make you happy, but you really want a waffle, you know, or coffee is going to make you happy, but you really want green tea. I can't make those decisions for you, but as long as I know what is needed, then it's now my responsibility to say, hey, they trust me with this type of part in their life. I'm going to deliver, or I'm not going to deliver. Because once you learn to take responsibility of those needs, you're going to be able to effectively communicate with your spouse or your partner, or even your boss or your kids. You're going to let them know what role they play in your life when it comes to those feelings and needs that you need to have acquired. Brandon, you're on mute. Or can't we can't yeah, you're on mute.
No, I thought you hit that point right on the head. It
Oh,
says
thank
here,
you.
it says you need to discover how to respond to your partner in ways that are loving to yourself and that support your own joy and highest good. Right? Knowing what your values are, knowing what your standards are, and then no matter how upset you get, or no matter how much in lack you are, you never ever compromise in that. And when a person is willing to compromise your values and your standards and not really care about your feelings and your needs, honestly, it's a clear indication that it's time to go. It's a clear indication that it's not going to work out, especially if it's something that you need as a person. Each person. I mean, people not tough. You can't find your happiness in everybody or in somebody else, but at times you go through things, and there is a time when you do need somebody, when you do need that cheer up, and you do have expectations of your significant other to be there for you. So you really gotta know, is that their role in your life and in your relationship. You might want a person to be empathetic, like Malik was saying earlier, and they just don't have that empathy. You want them to
Right.
care. You want them to rub your back, and they don't. You know, they're just not touchy feely. They may be going through something themselves. You got to be aware of those things.
And you want to know how you can be aware of those? Check out the 5 love language. You can be able to find out there. And no, we're not sponsored by them. It just really works. 5 love languages will help you understand though that your love language, so you can understand yours, and then start working with your spouse. Even if they're not ready to even dive into that yet, check yours out, and then you can be able to identify some of the things and feelings that you need. Because there was one thing, it was so interesting. Me and Brandon had we went and did this event or whatever, right? And it was I guess the first time that we really got to see each other in that type of environment. And when we got in the car, he says, "You're really touchy feely." And I'm like, "What do you mean touchy feely?" He's like, "Everybody you see, you touch." And I'm like, "I didn't know that. I didn't even realize that." And I was like, "Well, I feel that that's the way that you're able to really show that you're either genuinely listening, or that I understand what you're saying, or something like that." So we decided that we wanted to do an updated version of the love languages. And my love language is physical touch. And it was like, that's my number one thing. Not only do I want that from him, I didn't realize that I give that to others to show my either compassion, support, or empathy for a person. But had we not known that, he would have thought I was flirting with everybody.
Right.
you know? So it's about knowing and feeling comfortable with having those types of conversations as well. So,
Yeah, I
oh,
thought that
we
was,
got Ghana in the house. Shout
hey,
out to Ghana. Hey,
I just
write in the chat, you guys, what you got, where you guys listening from. We want to hear where you guys listening
yeah,
from right now.
throw some hearts in there too, man. Throw some
Yeah,
thumbs up. You know, something about when you put them thumbs and hearts in there, and people start seeing them coming
gives
through. You
us
start getting
motivation.
people, and then also start having people coming through the chat. Like they see hearts coming in, like they must be killing it, talking about something good. But hey, shout out to Sembato. We appreciate you.
Yes, Tamara, thank you.
Let's see what Big
Um,
Teddy said. Teddy, welcome, Teddy. He said, I don't think it's fair to set unreasonable expectations on your partner, especially if you can't fulfill those expectations for yourself. Yeah, definitely, man.
that is very,
Um,
very. Oh yeah, we're getting into that one, right? Is that what's I couldn't read what's what the
nah, the
next.
next one, nah, we're going into counseling next. And I think
Oh,
that's,
okay. So let's talk about what Teddy said real quick.
yeah,
We setting unreasonable expectations for your partner, especially if you can't fulfill those expectations yourself. That's where you self-assess. That's where you're knowing you're taking accountability 110% for your needs and desires. If you don't know what you need, or you're not responsible for your own feelings, how can I project that onto someone else? That's where you're having someone else responsible for your happiness. I don't know what I want, just make me happy. But what do you want? What are you really portraying, and what type of expectation are you receiving? If you don't know that about yourself, you can't tell me how to be able to help you. And I'm not no psychic, but I need you to be able to take responsibility for yourself, because you were born in this world by yourself, and you know what you do not like and what you do like. So let's talk about it, instead of having a conversation about how cute you are, and ooh, shake that ass, or throw it in a circle. We don't need to have those conversations anymore. We're together. The honeymoon phase is over. Now what we need to do is we need to figure out how we can be able to grow and elevate. And knowing those expectations is by taking accountability and responsibility for your thoughts and your feelings and your needs, but also being able to effectively communicate those with your spouse.
yeah,
What
that communication is everything. You know, if I can communicate with you what I expect from you, and you tell me that you can't fulfill those things, then I shouldn't have the expectations for you to be able to do so. Um,
Yes.
and I think
Or we
that's,
need to have a conversation, because what are deal breakers?
yeah, all the time. And then we also got to realize, I just say, with in a relationship, you have to be aware. Like, you may have expectations of your partner that they no longer can fulfill because you did something to f it up. You know what I mean? They probably gave you all of those liberties and gave you all that respect, and then you ruined it. You did something to make them unhappy, And now they feel as if, look, when I was doing this, I was going outside of myself. I was doing this for you. I was sacrificing myself for you.
Yes.
And now look, I'm not about to give you that same respect, and I'm not giving you that same honor. And I remember there was a time like when we got separated, Tiffany, I had to be okay listening from Walmart in Las Vegas.
I know, I love it. Also, I have to keep it up there. Listen from
Give me
Walmart.
some toilet paper.
I love it.
Give me
That's
some
so that
toilet
we are special. I love it. Yes.
paper.
Shout
Nah,
out to
but
all those that like Walmart.
yeah, but real talk though, like you just really have to have that conversation ahead. And then you also gotta revisit, hey, remember when we first started, this was the expectation. Now things have changed. I'm grown now. Like I remember certain things within our relationship that, I was like, Tiff, we gotta do this. And now we
Right.
grown. I'm like, nah, that's so irrelevant to what really matters in
Yeah.
our relationship. Like we done
Like,
with that
yeah,
whole
I'm not in my 20s no more.
experimentation phase, and we done, trying to figure things out. Like we know who we are. I know what you want. You know what I want, and we know what we can do together.
Well, yeah, and setting those expectations together. Because the thing is, if you don't know, talk about it.
Yeah.
Talk about it with your spouse. I don't know what you expect from me, and you don't know what I expect from you. Let's have a conversation. You should be having that at least once a year. At least, if not twice a year.
You should have that. You should be having that.
Expectations.
You should
Because
have
that's what,
every 90 days. It should be quarterly.
and you see, and that's what I was gonna say. I was like, because that's for me, you just gotta tell me what you expect of me. I expect you to be a mother. I expect you to help elevate the business and contribute to the business. I expect you to have dinner made. I expect you to get Bishop up in the morning and take him to school. I'll make sure I get Brazil and them ready for school. Like those types of expectations, knowing that, but also knowing your heart. I expect you to spend time with me and have nightly conversations. Just like me. He knows that I expect him to rub my back at night. That's how I fall asleep. I have to be touching him in order to go to sleep. So it would be really irresponsible of him if he decided to stay out late or something like that, because he knows that I do. It's just been like that for years, that I can't sleep without him. So that's expectation. So he already knows, if thank God we don't have this problem, but thank God if he did decide to go out somewhere, he's gonna be conscious and say, I need to get back home, or something like that, if we don't go somewhere together. Because
I'll just prepare you.
I know I'm owed something, and I'm gonna be upset because I'm like, I'm not going to sleep. It's not okay. And like he expects me to scratch his back every night. So I know that before I go to sleep, I'm going to have to give him I'm going to have to scratch his back. It's okay. But those are even little mini things that help a relationship. And now he never has to ask me. He never has to ask me. I'm like, honey, I'm about to go to sleep. You need your back scratched? All right, let's do it.
But I'm mad.
Just even something small.
I'm mad if I don't rub your back before we go to bed.
Yes, yep. And then what do I do? I'm like, honey, we need to talk. What's wrong? What's wrong? Because we set the expectations and we know, hey, this either is okay or it's not okay. So if you don't know how to set those expectations, why don't you start asking questions? What if, or do you feel? Are you okay with? Are you okay with this? Are you okay with this part of our relationship? Are you okay with that part of our relationship? You're not okay with that part of the relationship? Now let's talk.
Yeah.
What are you not okay with? And why are you not okay with?
You got to establish it. You got to establish it early, and you got to speak up often, and you just got to know. And when you can't speak, it's very important that you go get you a mediator. Like seriously, even if you don't believe in counseling, like, and that's what our next topic is. Just try it. Like the relationship is at least worth that attempt, right? At least try that. Like for some reason, you and I, we can't figure it out together. So let's see if we can get a mediator to step in and help us to have this conversation. a lot of times, like, and I'm gonna be honest, like I got to get transparent. Like what I love about counseling is that I am able to have the conversations that Tiffany don't want to have a lot of times. Like a lot of times our issues are me holding back what I gotta say in order to not make her mad or overreact or for her to misconstrue what I'm going through. Like when I got a counselor there, the counselor lets me say everything I gotta say without interruption, and then make her listen. And then instead of her reacting to the words or the misinterpretation of something I may have said, she gotta realize, hey, do you understand the whole context of what he was saying? And then if you understand the whole context of what he was saying, then now give your rebuttal. Don't just say, okay, I disagree with this, and this, and I don't like the way, because that person usually is talking from the way they feel.
Right.
They tell you from their perception, their perspective. This is how I see things, and you may not see things like that. Just listen, and I feel like it's just important. And then if for some reason a person won't allow you to talk, then you got to write it out. And then when you
Absolutely.
write it out, make them read it, because then if they read it, then they can't misconstrue what you said.
Ah, that's why the pain of a man is out.
Yeah, that's definitely why the
Shout out
pain.
to the pain of a man. Available on Amazon. It's right there.
Yeah,
Because there were certain things that he felt like he couldn't talk to me about. But guess what? I know exactly how he feels now. Now that I read that book. Now that I read it, I know exactly what he was going through in his head on things that he just could not relate to me. He just could not put it out into perspective of what it was, because he was afraid of hurting my feelings. He was afraid to see the tears come out of my eyes. But it was very enlightening and very helpful. I say this about counseling. Counseling for me is so therapeutic because sometimes you just want to vent. Sometimes I just got to get it out. And what I love about counseling is that if you don't want them to give you any feedback, they don't have to. And it comes from a non-biased standpoint. It comes from a third party that's not in it, that's not seeing it every day. They just want to hear how you feel about the situation. They're not really looking for the logic. And if you want to give logic, then they'll take that in. But it gives you an opportunity to get it off your chest. Like I said, like we were talking about before, when you give the cold shoulder, you are limiting yourself from having an opportunity for your voice to be heard. You're not giving an opportunity to release that energy. So I recommend counseling for those who have a difficult time, or not necessarily a comfortable time with expressing themselves. At least you can be able to find a third party to be able to release that, because it helps you and it releases you from the feeling of feeling trapped. Oh, he left.
yeah. You should at least acknowledge them that he was in there.
While I was talking.
You could have easily said, "Hey, acknowledge him real quick."
There he goes. Oh, I think it's just bad reception. Okay, so we have a guest that is going to be joining us. Brandon, I'm not sure how we bring him on the screen to make sure that everybody fits. Can we do that with our background?
No, not with the background. I'm gonna take the background.
Okay, so we're gonna have to take off our cute backgrounds. Brandon made. He's super dope with the graphics. So you guys want your graphics done? I'll let you, boy. Okay.
What's good? Is y'all getting the glare from my light?
Yes, we are. Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Let me see if I can reposition this. If not, let me see if I can go to another spot. But what's up, Brandon and Tiffany Ward?
Hello.
Y'all famous asses. What's going on? Hey, y'all already know Malik Truth is gonna be Malik Truth. I'm gonna try to control my tongue, but y'all know Malik Truth.
You good? Is this only thing is that if you cuss too much, then I gotta make it.
No, I ain't gonna cuss a whole lot. I'm gonna refrain. I'm gonna try to get this glare out the way, because I know this lamp right. That's better.
There we go. There we go.
There we go. That's a whole lot better. What's going on, y'all? Y'all done talked about a whole lot of things that passed by, but y'all know about my book, and I try within my power to follow the precepts that God gave me, to give to the world, in the design dating purpose. And let me tell you, I truly believe that the most important person in a relationship is yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That may sound a little selfish, but selfish is necessary. Brandon, you told me that. You know, we have to learn how to be selfish, because selfish takes us to the point of selfless.
Yeah.
Because when we're selfish, we learn how to focus on ourselves, learn how to bring out the honesty and the traumas that we've suffered throughout our lives at any given point in our lives. And then we can maneuver our mindset to get to a place of wanting to heal from that past, because our traumas severely retards our social engagements. And what do I mean by that? Is that when everything is about mindset. Everything is about mindset. How do I know that? It is evident because the Bible says that be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. Now, if it said in that great book that we got to change our mindset, then we need to change our mindset. So when we change our mindset and we focus on those traumas and we learn how to first accept them, accept that they happen, stop denying them, accept that they happen, learn where they came from, learn how to deal with them. Sister Amber, my book is called The Design, Date, and Purpose. I'm gonna get to that in a minute. But I truly just believe that when we are honest with ourselves and we learn how to deal honestly with those traumas and begin the healing process, we can become a better person for ourselves first. When we learn to become a better person for ourselves, then all of the walls come down, so that now when we get into a relationship, we learn and know how to be transparent with that person we've decided to spend some time with. We've learned how to be honest and unashamed of what has happened in our lives and how we've learned to transform and transfix that to become the better person that, you know what I'm saying, that we could say that you're talking to right now. You know what I'm saying? And you guys have such the greatest story, because Tiffany, Brazil's tragedy, which turned into triumphs, hit you harder seemingly than it hit Brandon. But it hit Brandon just as hard, but he, being the man, needed to be strong for the whole family.
Yeah.
That's what he felt. But did he need to be strong himself for the whole family? No. There was a course in both of you guys' lives that caused you to hide the truth of what that trauma did to you from each other. So that tells you that even in a marriage, we don't really know everything we need to know about our spouse. But if we take the time to learn it, man, when we face it and we overcome it, our bond with one another becomes so much stronger.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
I said a mouthful, y'all. Let me shut the hell up.
Now you're speaking the truth.
Nah.
It's true. No, that's really, honestly, like, that is, you hit the nail on the head. It was, we were both feeling like we were being strong for each other. So we would look at each other like, you good? You good? Okay, we're good. But we both were really just dying inside.
Yes.
It over and over and over again. He thought I was staying up all night to write a book, because I'm like, I wrote Tragic Testimony. Literally, like, every night, 2, 3 in the morning, I would write until I fell asleep. But it was because he didn't know that every time I closed my eyes, I seen the lights coming at me.
Yes.
Car, and it scared me every single night for about up until I was finished writing the book, because it helped me get everything off of my mind and my thoughts. But the one thing is, I was trying to figure out ways to be able to heal myself from it, and I didn't check on him, you know. So you're right. You're absolutely right. But that, had we known what we know now,
right? And guess what?
We would have never separated. We'd have never broke up. Never.
Thank you. And guess what? You both were experiencing. It's called post-traumatic stress syndrome, which people oftentimes associate with war, but it's not. Trauma is trauma is trauma. And trauma can affect you and alter our lives when it's introduced in our lives. Because trauma isn't something we're hardwired to deal with readily. It is something that needs to occur event by event so we can become stronger.
Yeah, that is facts. Because
Yeah.
if we want with together, we can be so much more stronger if we communicate with each other and know that what I'm saying to you is not going to be held against me, and I could be comfortable expressing that I've
Yeah.
been through some stuff, and now
Mm.
I won't be able to hold that resentment. I'll tell you this,
Yeah.
even with the situation that we're dealing with right now, I'm going to be transparent. We lost a dear friend a couple of days ago, and it hit me really,
Sorry to
really
hear that.
hard.
Yes.
My husband, I was so afraid to talk to him about it because of the dynamic, but because he was so understanding, and because of where we are right now, I knew that I can be able to talk to him about how I was really feeling about losing this friend, and I've
Mm.
been able to release so much of this, like feeling like I was going to go into a depression because of the dynamic our relationship is in now. Had we not been where we are right now, if this would have been not three, because we was even good there. I want to say like 8 years ago, 10 years ago. We were married so long, honey. But anyways, 8 or 10 years ago, I would have just kept this inside. I would have kept
Right.
it inside. And the next thing you know, he'd have been like, why are you so depressed? Why are you not getting up
Right.
and doing stuff and being active the way you were? And I would have been like, no, I'm just fine. I just don't feel like doing anything. Because I even went into that depressive state with Brazil. I was like,
Right.
I don't want
Oh,
to.
absolutely. Absolutely. And what makes the both of your relationship with yourself and each other so beautiful and such a beautiful model is that out of each trauma, you've shown yourselves personally and yourselves together and anyone who comes in contact with you that it is possible with intention.
Yeah, with
Yeah.
intention. And that intent, that I word right there is everything. It
Yes,
has
sir.
to be intentional. Because
Yes,
that's where the
sir.
mindset
It ain't
comes
got to be
from.
perfect. It's just got to be intentional.
Come
That's
on,
Yeah,
all.
that's where the
somebody.
mindset come from.
Yes,
It's like
sir.
look, if we both fighting and we got a common enemy, eventually we gonna get to our victory. Right?
Yes.
This is just how it
Yeah.
is. But the moment we are not on aligned and we are fighting against each other, or we don't have the same perspective when it comes to an outside influence that's trying to tear down a relationship, whether it be spiritual or physical, honestly, you're gonna miss so many things through that process because you don't even realize like it's a war. It's a war,
Yeah.
not just it's a war that you have to fight, and then sometimes you just gotta fight together. Like you
Yes.
have to, but it is important for you to have the right outside influences just in case that your partner, like when me and Tiffany went through our situation, it was like, okay, I understand that you're grieving. Let me grieve now, because if I never grieve, now you healing, you got to go through my whole painful
All
moment.
over.
You know,
Yeah.
all
All
over.
over again.
I'm gonna
And
trigger you, and then I'm gonna
that's
trigger you
true.
with my pain.
Come on, somebody. That's right. And that's true. And I had our brother Vernon Fox the third. You guys may know him. And he was talking to me about when he had his last football contract because he had always been a free agent. And when he got his last football contract and it had ended, nobody, would sign him. And he had gone through such great depression, and it lasted for quite some time. And his wife, stepped back and allowed him to grieve. She understood what he was going through. She let him grieve. But then there was a point where she listened to the spirit of love, and she said, as he had related, honey, it's time for us to have a talk. And when she talked with him, she did it with such intentional love that it hit the core of his heart. He said that she said, baby, I've been doing hair for over 20 years. And if something or someone took that away from me, I don't know how I would react, but I know that it would wreck my world or would hurt me badly.
Yeah.
So now it's time for you to find that other part of your greatness, which is Vernon Fox. Because football did not did not define him, even though he thought it did. Football did not define him, and she, as a wonderful Proverbs 31 wife, helped him to realize that, baby, football was just an interim to your greatness. Now it's time for you to really be great. And now him and his wife has a wonderful ministry. I think it's called Salt International, something like that. But they're doing their thing, and I'm just pleased that our brother and our sister is just doing wonderfully, continuously in their marriage. They're bringing people to the Lord together. They're helping people to find their traumas and heal from their traumas together as a couple, as a team, just like you guys. You know, we mentality, not just you and her, but starting with you and Tiffany, and showing the world how, even though you're individuals in a marriage, how you can still be a we. Even though you're individuals in a company, how we can still be a we. So congratulations, y'all. Y'all doing that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We
We see you,
appreciate
Mr. Best-selling author. Everybody go make sure you guys check out his book. Can you give them a little bit of information about your book?
Absolutely. The book is called The Design Dating Purpose. And it helps you to dig into your past and find the traumas that have been retarding your relationship with yourself and others, helps you to accept those traumas, and then brings you on a path of healing. I use, as you guys use, a lot of myself as relative points to bring the audience in, to help them know that I'm human too, and I go through shit myself. But here's how I dealt with them, and maybe you can do the same thing. So with learning yourself first, because I truly believe that we are the most important element. Your individual self is the most important element in the relationship. And if you cannot know you, how the hell are you going to try to know somebody else?
How you going to love somebody else?
If you're going to love somebody else, love yourself first. And Tiffany and Brandon, I love when you guys said about the happiness. It's the same thing that Will Smith said. You both should come in the relationship with a cup full of joy. And then every time it runs over, you guys are so close that every time it runs over, you get yours and she get hers. You both replenish one another. And if you move away from each other, should anything remove you guys from each other's lives, you still leave with a cup full of joy.
That's right.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
That's right.
I'm so glad you came on.
Yeah, we appreciate you. We appreciate you.
I appreciate y'all, man.
Malik, before you go, because we on the topic of counseling real quick. Have you ever attended couples counseling? What do you think about it?
I have never attended couples counseling, but I sat in some sessions during my time in behavioral health. And couples counseling, number one, as you said before, have someone that believes in the value of your relationship.
That's right.
For that counselor have told you both that you don't need counseling, y'all could have killed each other, and they would have been a cause.
Right.
So find someone that's a good match for you two, that understands the vision of you guys wanting to be together. And number two, you both have to buy into it.
I love it. Both
individually and together. You have to both buy. Not one person can be bought in than the other. You both have to be sold out into resolving the issues of the relationship, because every relationship is salvageable. Because if God can save a wretch like us, that means every relationship is salvageable. You just have to choose ye this day whom ye will serve. and you will make the best decision.
Absolutely.
That's right. I love that you said that. Somebody asked in one of these marriage groups, they said, as a man, what's the one thing that you need from your woman in order for you to be satisfied? And I said, that's a loaded question, but all I need is alignment, bro. If I just got alignment, that's
Man,
all. And we can make anything.
man, look, I have a spiritual jealousy for you guys' relationship because I want what y'all got.
Aww.
But y'all, man, y'all got a beautiful family, and despite what happened to Brazil was destined because you guys have become so close because of what happened to Brazil, and Brazil is still strong, resilient, intelligent, beautiful. Come on, y'all.
And praying for us. When you should see when we argue, first thing she do is she go to God.
She go to God. Look at her.
God, get this thing ready. Get this thing together.
She'll tell us to go meditate. She'll tell us, she's like, go, can you go meditate real quick?
Yeah.
She's like, mommy, come with me. Let's go meditate. I'm like, okay, we see this. They see us, and our arguments aren't yelling at each other. They could tell when we're frustrated. They could feel the energy. We're definitely an energy. Like you feel that spirit. It's like, nope, I don't like that. But Brazil has a very unique way of knowing that something's not right.
That discernment. Yeah. That discernment. And you know what's beautiful about your entire family is that they have a very wonderful model of what love and relationship looks like.
Oh, thanks.
Thank you.
And so because they have that, that's going to follow them into their relationship. And they're going to learn how to communicate effectively to that person to bring out the greatness in that person. Even if they only become friends, they're still going to be able to draw out the greatness in whomever they encounter. So you guys are just showering with greatness, man. And I love y'all. I appreciate y'all, Brandon. I appreciate us, speaking together, doing work at Nevada Partners. And whenever you need me, bro, I am there. I am indeed a real one.
All right. Well, I'm gonna need you real soon. I'm definitely gonna hold you to that, Malik. Thank you so much, Malik. Thank you for coming on.
All right,
I'll put your link in the chat for your book.
Thank you.
Make sure you put your link in the chat. I don't know if it came out right.
Thank you. Yes, I'm gonna go ahead and write it in real quick. Okay, the design.
Another thing is make sure y'all go follow Malik. Malik, where can they follow you at, brother?
Oh, they can follow me at Ilias, ILLYAS, Malik, MALIK, Jenkins. Okay, and that's on Facebook, and Malik Truth _1970 on Instagram. And I'll be putting up my radio show on YouTube very soon. So look out for that, because Malik's Truth radio show is still in and ready to rock. So I just appreciate this opportunity to speak with y'all, to allow me to speak on your platform and speak with the people who's listening with you guys, and the opportunity to once again begin operationalizing or continually operationalizing the power of the design dating purpose.
That's right, brother. Well, we love you, man. We appreciate
y'all.
Thank you.
All right.
You want to come back whenever you got anything. You want to promote anything? You got any events? Come on, man. Let us know, and we got
you.
Let's talk
it.
About it.
I'll keep y'all plugged in. Take care, y'all.
All right, brother. You take care.
That was awesome.
Yeah, that was awesome. Good. That was real good. That was real good. Thank you, Malik, for jumping on.
Very beautiful.
Thank you, Teddy, for jumping in the chat. Everybody, Sambado, everybody,
Amber,
Amber.
You guys have been awesome. You guys have been awesome today.
So we've been on for a while. We're not gonna do it prematurely. I want to make sure I do get this last bit of content out there. So we're gonna run through this last bit of content. All right, Tiff. So just talking back on counseling. And just making sure, like Malik said, look, if you can get counseling and you need the help, you need somebody that believes in your union, they believe in your marriage. Those are the type of people who you want to counsel you. But you got to be honest with yourself. It says here, when the partner who is available to counseling does his or her inner work, what was that word? Inner work. One of two things happen. The partner either becomes more open and accepting, or they become more distant and more difficult, right? And just remember,
and that'll teach you the dynamic of your relationship, if it's even worth it.
Yeah, right then and there. If the person is going through counseling and they're not open and they're not accepting to the advice that's given, then they don't want to work on it. And why even put yourself through that trauma? Why even put yourself through that pain of you trying to do something and that love not being reciprocated? You definitely want to look out for that. If for some reason you feel like it's not going nowhere, don't waste your money, right? If you need to get the help by yourself, then just get the help by yourself. Because look, this person that's on the other end,
still about self.
Yeah, this person on the other end, if they get to the point to where they are willing to sacrifice this relationship and sacrifice your feelings and your.
Oh, he went out a little bit. Yes, if you're willing to sacrifice yourself or for the relationship, it's got to be reciprocated. It's got to be absolutely reciprocated, because if it's not, then what are we fighting for? I know I don't want to be running a 4-legged race on just 2 legs. Like, I want to be able to know that I can rely on my partner just as much as they can rely on me. So if you're showing that it's going to be more open and accepting, you're going to be able to succeed and thrive through. But if your partner's becoming more distant and difficult, it's time to have that difficult conversation, because they're hiding and suppressing some things that you may not be able to help with. So that's when you need to be able to have those difficult talks.
Yeah. The next thing is it's a 50-50.
Before we do that, want to say, you guys, make sure you like and comment and subscribe to our show. Check us out on Spotify. This is the Take Back with Tiffany and Brandon. This episode what are we on 6?
Yeah, we 6.
We're on episode 6. This episode 6 is sponsored by Squad Beauty Professionals. Appreciate you guys. You guys want to go get laid and slayed? Do that when you get paid. Go ahead. All right, back to you.
She probably had to use that. That was dope. So real quick, just know that when you're in this situation, it's either two. It's just two results that can happen. You either going to be together, or you're going to be apart. The thing is being aware of that, right? It's a 50-50. Like, don't try to manifest it. Like, you can try to manifest that portion, right, but it is what it is. You try your hardest, like in any fight. And if for some reason you don't come out on top, be okay with it, because the universe and God know what he got. They know what's in store for you. Right? Your blessing may be outside of this person. You may have to be separated from this person in order for you to receive your blessing, because this person is really keeping your blessing from getting to you, or they don't have you in the right mindset. When I read my pattern or I read my horoscope, one thing they make sure they tell me all the time is that you got blessings coming your way, but you can mess those blessings up with the wrong mindset. Thinking negatively.
And that's the one thing we don't want to do.
You was moving around like, why she moving around so much?
Because Amber just shouted out something that I said wrong. I'm enslaved, not laid. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, you guys. But no, the okay.
Another thing.
Not focused.
Yeah. So the reason why another thing is be okay with the outcome, because when we deal with these type of situations, when your heart and all of those things are involved, chances are, if things aren't going to work and you want them to work, you're going to experience pain. And I just want to make sure that if you go through any type of pain, that you make sure that you don't do anything that you're going to regret. Or say anything that you're going to regret, or do anything to mess up your reputation, your core values, the things that you got to live within yourself.
I mean, and also even with counseling, if you're already going, especially if you're at the point of having like a counseling sessions where you're at the brink of breaking up, can't do anything from go up. You know, it's either up by yourself or up with your partner. So you have to be okay with saying, I'm going to decide at the end of this if it's okay to let go, if it's okay to still hold on to this. Is it worth salvaging? Is it ready? Are we ready to be able to have those conversations if needed? And if needed, it's okay to not be okay, but to be able to get through it. But at least it would be more of a mutual thing, or a mutual, have a mutual understanding that we are not okay in this environment. We're not effective in this environment. And if you decide, oh, I'm too scared of counseling, then you're just going to waste plenty of time, too many days and years and months that we are not guaranteed to live in this life. So if we are only built with one life, why not make sure I'm living it out to my fullest? And if I'm doing that effectively, that means I'm not wasting my time in something I'm afraid of losing. Because at the end of the day, we're only in charge of ourselves, because the partner can still walk away, especially if they're not seeing a change in the relationship or the dynamic of the relationship. The one thing I loved about Brandon, what drove me to him, not only that he fine, but his drive.
Thank you.
His drive is what set me. You know what I'm saying, Daddy? You zaddy, you know what I'm saying? But with everything, it was his drive. I love the fact that he was a go-getter and he wanted to do it the right way. He wasn't over here trying to get rich quick. He was like, I'm trying to build a legacy. I'm trying to build something for myself. And this was at 18 years old. Like, who really talks about stuff like that? You know, that's what attracted me to him. So you also got to remember, check out episode, what do we do? Episode 4 or episode 5, where we talk about what 7 ways to improve your relationship. Going back to the beginning, what got you back to that point. Sometimes they'll do that in counseling, and it is very effective to remember where you started versus where you are, so you can be able to analyze it and come in the middle. So
yeah, definitely. But be okay with the outcome too. Like, you know what I'm saying? I love what you said. Be okay, because if somebody walking away from you, they gotta go. Who said it? I went one time and never went again. He lied the entire time the first time we went. Yeah.
That's what we're saying. It gotta be 100%. It's not gonna work if it's just you working. And then that's where you gotta have that difficult decision and say, okay, you're not taking this as serious as I am. And guess what? I'm gonna decide I'm taking back my responsibility for myself, and I'm gonna take my life serious, because you're not. Because when we are with our partners, we are expecting them to hold us to one accord. Respect me as you respect yourself. Yeah. So you're not showing that you're even respecting yourself if you're going to sit here and lie about it, when I know we're right here. We're in the relationship together. This person, this counselor, is just the third party. This is just a non-biased person. It's not for a person that you need to impress. I'm not paying you to impress you. I'm paying you so I can be able to get what I need and what I feel out. And maybe you can give me some resources or some tips on how to be able to rectify the situation. So if the other person is not taking it serious, then that's already a sign that they're being distant and withdrawn from it. And I don't need to even entertain this conversation anymore. We need to figure out how we're separating. That's the type of mediation we will go for. Yeah, and I would be okay with that if he decided, no, I'm not going to counseling, or if, like, when we were separated, if he's like, no, I don't want to go to counseling, I don't want to do any of that. Okay, then I'm not worth it, and that's fine, because I'm worth it to me. So you go ahead and you figure your stuff out, because I'm gonna go figure me out.
Yeah, never sacrifice yourself for somebody else. Like you said, who were you talking to today? You was like, we was talking to the pastor, and you told the pastor said, Tiffany, you want to make this work, and you was like, no.
Nope. I was like, nope. I was dead serious too. I
was like, no. But when you said that at that time, it was good for me, because it gave me closure. It was like, all right, time to go be ratchet. I'm just playing. I'm just joking.
No.
I'm just joking. All right. Next one, it says, learn to love yourself through the process. So definitely you have to learn yourself through the process. But more than anything, learn to love yourself through this process. This is the time where you have to be selfish. Like, you are going to have to be selfish. I believe that you definitely have to consider the other person's feelings. But when we in this time and at this moment more than ever, you have to love you. Because if you don't love yourself, you're going to be willing to take some shit that you normally never would have took, and you only gonna make yourself and your situation so much more worse, so much worse. So what my man Sambato say? He said, can evocation make a relationship more stronger?
Evocation.
Evocation. You answer?
Okay, that's yeah, because I had to look that up because I hadn't heard that one before. So so I got the definition. Evocation is the act of being or recalling a feeling, memory, or image to the conscious mind. That's interesting. Um, the action of invoking a spirit or deity. Interesting.
Yeah.
If you're recalling a feeling,
Yeah. So
can that make your relationship stronger?
And I'm not gonna go too much into it, right? But I'm just gonna go back into what you were saying earlier. You talked about intention, and Malik said intention, and I said intention. And when you talk about evocation, that's exactly what you're doing. It's intention. I think any energy that you put behind anything with the right intention, that I feel like is going to be manifested. So if Tiffany and I we come to the agreement that through spiritual forces that we're going to be loyal to each other and we're going to continue to grow because we in our purpose and we serving our God-given purpose, I feel like that. I feel like spirit, ancestors, I feel like God is going to support that no matter what. No matter what. I was telling Tiffany the other day, I said, hey, I noticed that we haven't been praying together. And the reason why I said it is because I just know that when we pray together and we set those intentions, that anything we want, we get. But a lot of times, if we don't pray together, we're not aligned. She might be praying to God about something totally different, and I'm praying to God about something different, and now we conflicting, our spirits. So I'm like, if we are aligned and we telling exactly what it is that we want and what our intentions are, then that's exactly what we're going to get, and that's exactly what we're going to be. Not just that, but we don't have to deal with those forces that come against us from the outside because we have Orishas and we got ancestors that's willing to fight that fight in the spiritual realm. But I don't want to go too deep into it, like I said.
Yeah. No, and even so, with even the fact of like bringing that feeling, I do feel like that makes our relationship stronger because one of the things that I did to kind of woo him back to me was when we were separated, I started sending him emails of us. I would take a picture of us. I'm talking about wasn't no recent picture. It was a picture of us when we first got together, and I wrote a story, and I really detailed it out. Shout out, that's all, writer. So I made sure that I really detailed out what we went through, how I felt, what he said, and it was really invoking those feelings and giving him an imagery that, wow, I do remember that, and for that was. I did that for about 2 months. And then he called me, and that was a conversation that we hadn't even heard each other's voices. We have kids together, and we hadn't heard each other's voices in like 4 months. So I do believe that can make your relationship stronger. But think about, we don't want to do that only when we're having problems. It helps. It will help it. But if we keep that as a ritual, if we keep that as something that is special and we hold near and dear to us, like I'm more of like during our anniversary, I don't really care to get all the gifts and stuff like that. I want him to show me why I fell in love with him. Why did I say I do? Like show me that I'm still important to you. Show me that you're still choosing me even after 16 years of marriage, 18 years together. Like I need to know that for sure. So I say evocation is definitely something that will help make a relationship stronger if you use it in the right way. Because if you bring up the negative and paint the picture so good, that energy will go in the wrong direction. And that's the one thing that can be detrimental to a relationship. So
yeah, I think that was a great question, Sambato, and
yes,
I know why you asked, because you
gave me a new word that I get to use.
Yeah.
Now. Thank you.
I mean, in ceremony and ritual, that's what they do call it. So I was just like, I never thought about it in the relationship portion. But yeah, definitely. And lastly, Sambato, I just want to say this. I only believe it should be used when you're married. When you have that union, if it's not a married union, you don't have that. Yeah, if you don't have that agreement, I'm not thinking of the word, but if you don't have that, then
covenant. If you're not under the covenant,
there you go. If you don't have that covenant, then I don't think that you should really.
Yeah, we don't want to be mixing energies and such. With you need to be protected under the covenant for that.
All right, so we going on two hours almost.
We going on 2 hours. Are you guys feeling us too? Should we keep going? Let's check them
good.
first.
It was good because
should
they were.
We keep on?
We are gonna keep on. We're gonna finish it out. We got some
topic. We got some stuff.
Yeah, we're gonna finish it out.
More, just a couple more, but yeah.
So let's talk about separation, because obviously when we talk about this, can this relationship be worked out? We must discuss separation, because in order for Tiffany and I to get to where we are right now, we had to separate. We had to, and I don't encourage people to do so, because you just never know how it's gonna turn out in the end.
Yeah, I almost lost him.
But it was a risk that we were willing to take, because what we had was, like you said, it was salvageable. It definitely was salvageable. But at that time, in that moment, we just weren't aligned. We had too many differences. We were talking.
Too much hurt.
We were talking.
Not spoken.
Yeah, but we would talk, and then we would talk at each other, and then we would be placing the blame on each other all the time. And then, when you do something wrong, people want you to be accountable, but then they want you to be the victim, or they want to play the victim. And we weren't willing to do that. Like, we just weren't willing to do any of those things. So it was time, like, I can't control you, you can't control me, and we're only doing more damage to each other than we are helping each other. So it's very important for us to just separate right now. Like, I was conflicted. A portion of me wanted to stay in a relationship and make things work for the kids, but another portion of me was like, look, in order for these kids to have a good life, we're gonna have to figure something out right now. And if we need to separate and let things cool down and then come back at a later time, then so be it. If you love something, let it go. That's always been the mindset that I've had. And if it comes back, then, it's yours. And luckily, Tiff came back, or I came back, or,
you came back.
We got back together.
Yeah, we just got back together. Yeah, because I'm like, I left, and then I was like, wait a minute, I want you back. And then he didn't want me, and then I was trying to get him back. It was a whole bunch of stuff. We should have made a movie off that stuff. But anyways,
we still can't make a movie. What you talking about?
I don't know if everybody they probably be bored with our stuff.
No, not with that story. Just take what's in the books. You got a good
read movie. The Pain of a Man.
You got a good movie.
Pain of a Man.
But what do you think about separation? Do you feel like it was needed? Just thinking back even to our situation, and then just giving them some advice.
I'm indifferent. I wish I didn't have to. It was kind of like my hand was forced. And I feel like had we known what we know now, we would have never even got to that point. But I had to show you that I wasn't playing.
Yeah.
I was like, I ain't playing no games, because you did say one thing when we were separated. He was like, I really thought you were never going to leave me.
Yeah.
And I was like, bruh, my cutoff game strong. So that doesn't mean that I didn't love you. That doesn't mean that it took away how I felt for you. But I'm willing to say, hey, I love you enough that if I'm not making you happy, go find the person that does. Because I'm not in the means of keeping nobody that don't want to be kept. Because if I don't want to be kept, don't keep me, So when it comes to separation, I don't recommend it. But given the situation, because the cards that were dealt to me, I felt that was the best hand that I needed to play at that time.
Yeah, I thought it was too. Like, you just can't sit around and see somebody's grimace all day. Like, grimace. I'm looking at you grimacing all day. I'm tired of looking at you grimacing. Like,
just in pain.
Are you going? Like you said. I said. If Jesus forgave me, is you gonna forgive me? Like, you come on now. Like, we got to live.
What I tell you, and what
you can't be sitting around here all day. you can't just be sitting around here mad all day.
Well,
And
that's the thing, because the emotional pain turned
Mhm.
into physical pain.
Yeah.
Because I ended up having a mouth stroke because I was withholding and telling everybody I'm fine, and I'm dying inside. That's not fair to me. And I was like, when I was sitting in that hospital bed, and I was like, you ain't nobody gonna kill me. You're not gonna kill me. I'm not gonna die because I didn't speak my truth or I didn't stand up for myself in my head. So I just had to let the situation go where it goes. And I just had to say, like you said, I gotta let you go so you can see how life is without me.
Yeah.
And if it's worth it for you, I'm okay with letting you go. I always love you, but I'm gonna have to let you go. And don't think that you're gonna be able to turn back around and come back. Because if we would have got the full actual divorce, we would have never been in my head. That was we're not in the covenant anymore. I'm not responsible for you anymore. I don't take responsibility for whatever you have to offer. So I don't, like I said, I don't recommend it. I feel like things can be salvaged, but if you're going to separate, then be ready for the consequences. Be ready for them to not always say, yes, I want you back.
Yeah, I think you gotta. I just feel like you have to open up that door, and then you got to. You just got to. When you mess it up, you gotta do something to fix it. And sometimes that solution might just be let that person figure it out on their own, or you figure it out on your own, and you got to experience life without that person. So separation, you just got to really look into it, man. And then another thing is that realize that when you separate, there's no rules to separation. It's like
there isn't
no rules. We fighting.
Unfortunately,
it is what it is. You got to take what comes with it. I was so lucky and blessed that you did not get pregnant during our separation.
Right.
That was my first fear, was that we separated. You got pregnant and you got married or something like that. We come back. But you gotta look at your situation.
But
next is being a victim. Be aware of whether you playing victim or not, right? This is very important, because if you playing victim, then you only gonna think about what happened. But you gotta
what's for you.
But you also gotta consider what happened and how did it get there. Like, why did it happen? How did it get to this point? Not just the act itself, or whatever it is. So being a victim, somehow, some way, you gotta look at yourself as not the victim, but the person who's just gonna have to be stronger in the situation, because you gotta overcome the most. You got something you want to say about it?
Right. Playing the victim. I mean, that's one thing I personally don't like. It's a turnoff when I feel like people are playing victim. So it was like, we can survive anything. We can get through anything. Nothing has to be a woe is me situation. I mean, we literally we watched our daughter come back to life, and I did not feel like she was a victim. I felt like she was a survivor, So it's like, in a relationship, the ones that place the blame and the guilt, and they want you to, they want to gaslight you and stuff. Don't do that. Like, that's not effective for your relationship, and that's not going to help the person that you're with either A, want to help you, or B, it's going to cause them resentment towards you, because they're going to feel like you're not even valuing mine enough, because you're like, pretty much, screw your stuff. What about me? What about my feelings? It hurt me when you did this. It's okay to express that without playing victim. So me personally, it's not cute, especially for guys. Don't do it. So
yeah, it's not cute for nobody. Be aware if you are playing victim, and you gotta not be the victim. Victim is the victim. That's it. It's a weak place to be in.
That's another way of being passive aggressive. It's another way of showing yourself that it's showing weakness where it really doesn't even need to be. So I don't like. Me personally, that's a personal opinion. And then, but Sambato has a question. He said I want to know if vacation is a part of the relationship. Vacation is very much a part of the relationship. You should be planning vacations, even if it is a staycation there at your, at your in your uh if it's somewhere that's close to you or you don't have to go anywhere to really vacation. I remember during the pandemic, we would set up stuff in the backyard to make it look like we were going and doing stuff so that we could still feel like we were going on vacation. Vacation is wherever your heart is and wherever you want to really share and create a memory with.
Yeah,
So,
I think something was said earlier. They said, I don't know. It wasn't, maybe it was Malik that said it, but or we said it. But you set the expectation ahead, right? So like when you first get with your partner, it's something that if it really matters to you, and you know that it really matters to you, then you do everything necessary to make sure that
to make it happen. Yeah.
yeah, and then your partner makes sure that they make it happen, and then you got to plan it, right? If it's important, you plan it. One of my coaches told me, they said when they go on a vacation with their wife, if it's 3 days, they spend 2 days with each other and they spend 1 day away from each other, and it's just so that they can really, you gotta also vacation with yourself. You gotta connect with yourself as well. You gotta actually, you want to be in your natural environment at some point while you on a vacation.
I would use that time to sleep. We did that.
The next thing,
like, this is my time.
the next thing is resentment. Being aware of that resentment, be aware of that feeling on the inside. A lot of times, if you do have any type of resentment, the relationship isn't going to work. It's a clear indication that you should throw in the towel when you have resentment.
Well, not necessarily. Remember, we talked about where resentment can be built up, but it also can be reversed if you speak about it. If you're not speaking about it, then it's going to keep building up, building up, building up. And then it's time to just let it go, because you don't feel, if you're not being yourself within your relationship, then who are you really? You got to be able to feel comfortable with being yourself in your relationship so that you don't cause those kinds of resentment, but also knowing to base something off of a temporary emotion and make permanent decisions that will cause a lot of resentment. And usually those types of decisions are based off of resentment.
Mm-hmm. And if you feel like you feel resentment for yourself, then you got to forgive yourself. All right, we're gonna run through the next two. Y'all, I'm so sorry because I'm getting tired and I'm hungry. But
I know,
love
I'm
you.
starving.
I want
Love you guys. You guys are riding with us, though. You guys are rocking with us. Love you guys.
Take some bottles thing down there, or unless you're gonna talk about it.
Yeah, he said in this part of where I live, many people that's not even that they not even know about this, like about vacationing. Like, yeah, you like, especially where you're in Ghana. So, like, for us, that would be a vacation. So that would be a beautiful vacation. So
when we come out there, I'm speaking, and I'm speaking on the topic.
Yes. So speak your truth. Like we mentioned before, I mean, that is plain and simple. Speak your truth, not someone else's. Don't put someone else's context into your truth. Tell them how what they said made you feel, but that's speaking your truth. Not you said this to me, so I did this. No, you said that to me and it made me feel like this. It made me feel unwanted, unvalued, unsupported, unheard, whatever the case is, so you can rectify the situation. But the one thing that a lot of relationships do is my action caused your reaction, or vice versa. I'm asleep now. I'm sorry. But what it does is it causes a person to be on the defense. It causes them to feel like now we're not speaking truth. We're just defending what our stance in the argument. So if you speak your truth and say, this is how I feel, and all I want you to know is how I'm feeling, it helps change the dynamic and the tonality of the conversation, where you can actually effectively get things accomplished.
Yeah, speak your truth. You said this earlier when we talked about the cold shoulder comment. So when we say speak your truth, honestly, it's just simple as that. How can we get to a solution if I'm not being truthful with you? I'm real big about having uncomfortable conversations. Like I don't mind them. I'm okay with them. I just remember there was a time where I didn't want to hurt Tiffany's feelings, so I didn't say my truth, and then nothing would change. Now
Can't
it's
change if
like,
I don't
okay.
know it.
Now it's like, okay, speak your truth. Okay, she's gonna take it personal, so she'll get offended, and if she gets offended, as long as she able to process it and realize that, all right, look, I know I took things out of context. He was just doing exactly what he was supposed to do and communicating, doing exactly what I told him to do, and communicating his truth with me. And I'm just taking it too personal. When you do that, like honestly, man, you don't get nowhere if you you know like you just have to speak your truth, and then people have to accept it, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Last thing, last and final thing is going through this whole process is do the inner work. So this separation might be your rebirth. This separation might be your new beginning. This separation might be God trying to save you from a worse situation down the line. That's why it's very important that after you try your hardest, you give it your all, you give it 100%, and the shit don't work out, you just gotta make that decision to walk away. But while
Yeah.
you walking away, you gotta do the inner work, right? Get stronger through it. You see a lot of people, they break up and they come back more fit. Now, a lot of times it's not because they worked out; it's because if they was fat, they got depressed and they didn't eat. Right? Just
Me, hey, that's what happened to me. Oh my God, I was
yeah,
telling myself.
right.
I
It's
was
like that.
telling myself.
Things just start happening on the inside, but it's just like, do the inner work, whatever it may be. You may have done something in a relationship and it was your fault, and correct it. Don't do it to the next person. But more than anything, don't do it to yourself again. Go ahead, Chip.
That's facts. That's facts. Yeah, when you're doing inner work, it is so fulfilling, and you get to be able to heal on purpose. You heal yourself so that you don't have to worry about anybody else trying to heal you. You can't heal something that's already healed, but you can't also keep putting a band-aid on and ripping it off either.
Yeah.
So you can't start the process and expect for instant results. This is your life. It takes time, especially with what you've been through. Doesn't have to be what you go through. So making and knowing for sure that I'm analyzing myself. I'm diving deep. I'm finding out ways to balance my life. I'm practicing healthy eating. I'm practicing meditation. I'm practicing that mental work. I'm doing exercise. I'm smiling just because when you smile, it sends off things to your brain to open up the serotonins and changes things within. But we have to intentionally do research and figure out about ourselves. But it's got to be something, and we don't want it to have to be where, like me, I ended up in the hospital where I decided to make this change. I don't want it to be where you have to get a divorce in order to make this change. You can make this change right now and learn more about yourself so that you can know exactly what it is that you want to relate to your partner about what I expect and how I expect to be treated, and giving them the platinum rule, which is treat them the way that they want to be treated.
Yeah. The true indication of whether or not you should make it work or not is think about it. Do I have to lower myself or sacrifice myself in order for this person to be happy? Whenever you are fit, whenever you find yourself in that situation where you have to lose yourself to be with somebody else, then it's a bad
It's time
situation.
to reevaluate.
It's time to reevaluate it, and not just reevaluate. It's time to walk away.
Well, I mean,
No,
because it can be
the other
rectified
thing,
if we talk about it. But
if we talk about
it
it, we
but
we
it
talked about all that. We've already went through all of that. We at the last time we didn't went. We talked about it. We put the effort in. We went through the counseling. We did all that we could do, and in the end, if I have to sacrifice myself for you to be happy, then we shouldn't be together.
Yeah, you're right. I'm
I
sorry, I'm
shouldn't
asleep.
have to
It's two
devalue me.
hours.
I shouldn't have to devalue me or lose me in order to be with you.
That's true. Very true.
All right, but we love y'all. Nobody
Yeah.
wants you to win more than we do. 2 hours in, we gave y'all some good contact.
Woo.
It's the Take Back with Tiffany and Brandon Ward. I say follow me, Brandon Ward, on all platforms, Instagram, Meet the Wars on TikTok. We're gonna get that back popping, doing some dances as well. Follow Tiffany Ward at It's Me Tiffany Official on Instagram. You can find her at Tiffany Ward Author on Facebook. Also, Miss Tiffany Ward on Facebook as well, and any other platforms. Please be on the lookout for us. Share our
It's 1
platform.
a.m. in Atlanta.
Tell your people about what we got going on. We really do value this. And, we took a break last week because we had to do a conference at Caesar's Palace within our business, the We mentality. But we jumped back. We jumped right back. And we're gonna give y'all some more information. Check back in with us on Saturday morning. I don't know if we'll be live or not. We'll double check and see. But Saturday we got a nice juicy topic for you. That topic is check it before you wreck it. So those for the relationships. We still in a relationship. We got issues. Let's fix this shit
Let's check
before we
it
lose
so
it.
we don't have to wreck it.
Yeah. And with that being said, man, like I said, we love y'all. Thank you for your time, your energy, your effort. You got any parting words, Steph?
No one wants you to win more than we do. So we will see you guys soon.